War and psychology. The psychological effects of war and psychological strategies for prevention and reconstruction. No side wins in war. The only way to win is to prevent it from starting. War is one of the most devastating social phenomena that not only affects the political, economic, and infrastructure structures of countries, but also leaves deep and sometimes irreparable effects on the psyche of humans, especially direct and indirect victims. These effects are not limited to wartime, but continue for generations to come. In this video, we examine the mental disorders caused by war, its effects on the structure of the family, society, and children, and ultimately psychological strategies for preventing war and rebuilding after it. Mental disorders caused by war. Post-traumatic stress disorder, PTSD. One of the most common mental disorders following the experience of war is post-traumatic stress disorder, PTSD. This disorder is seen not only in soldiers, but also in civilians, indirect observers, and even people who follow the news of war from a distance. Its symptoms include frequent nightmares, insomnia, restlessness, avoidance of situations, and people reminiscent of war experiences. Research shows that about 30% of people who have had direct war experience develop PTSD. Depression and chronic anxiety. Depression and anxiety are highly prevalent in the insecure atmosphere of war, especially in communities with weak psychological and support infrastructure. People experience feelings of helplessness, and a lack of control over their lives. Underlying disorders such as social anxiety, depression, or personality disorders may be exacerbated in these conditions. The impact of war on children, the most vulnerable group. Children are more affected than others in war environments. The child's mind is not yet ready to process complex concepts such as death, homelessness, violence, and migration. Some of the psychological symptoms in children affected by war include intense and persistent fears, bedwetting, aggression and academic failure, social and emotional development disorders. Since abstract thinking and understanding of complex concepts usually develop after the age of 10, young children cannot understand the true meaning of war and, as a result, show illogical but persistent reactions. Social collapse in a war environment. Destruction of social trust. Wars usually lead to the breakdown of social bonds and a sharp decrease in trust in government, political, and support institutions. People feel alone and that governments are unable to support them. The result is increased anger, hatred, pessimism, and the weakening of social capital. The normalization of violence. In war-torn societies, values such as love, honesty, and altruism give way to survival, distrust, and violence. Children and adolescents grow up in such environments, and violence becomes normal for them. Modern wars and constant anxiety. In the modern world, the form of war has changed. Cyber, psychological, and proxy wars have replaced traditional battles. In these types of wars, the main goal is to damage the collective psyche, create constant fear, and disrupt the psychological peace of societies. Some of the consequences of these wars include increasing the level of basic anxiety in society, disturbance in trust in the media and information, a feeling of constant helplessness and insecurity, violation of privacy and excessive surveillance of daily life. Psychological strategies for preventing war. Training in communication skills and conflict resolution. Many wars result from the inability to resolve conflicts peacefully. Training skills such as effective dialogue, active listening, empathy, mediation can help reduce tensions and prevent mass violence. Intercultural education and global citizenship education. By teaching values such as acceptance of cultural, religious and ethnic diversity, blind prejudices are reduced and societies move towards mutual understanding and respect. This is effective in reducing areas of ideological conflict. Strengthening psychological resilience. Resilience means the ability to bounce back from crises. Societies that have responsible media, participatory leadership, support networks, a culture of dialogue and tolerance, are more resilient and less susceptible to psychological breakdown in war. Post-war psychological interventions. Individual and group psychotherapy. After the end of the war, it is necessary to provide extensive psychotherapy services to process bitter experiences, mourn, treat war trauma, and rebuild individual and social identities. People must be able to find a new meaning for their lives and heal their psychological wounds. Rebuilding meaning in life. It is one of the essential steps in rebuilding the psyche of a post-war society. Psychological support for children. Psychological empowerment of children should be carried out in the form of structured programs. This includes play therapy, art therapy, teaching coping skills, and strengthening the sense of psychological security in war-affected children. The role of the media in war and peace. Peace-oriented media should have a critical approach, counter discrimination, hate speech, and censorship, promote multi-voiced and human-centered discourses, global justice and reducing poverty and discrimination. One of the main causes of war is the unequal distribution of resources such as water, land, energy, and economic opportunities. Promoting global justice and reducing poverty, colonialism, and dictatorship play a vital role in reducing the likelihood of war. Conclusion. War not only destroys borders, but also destroys the psyche and meaning of societies. To prevent war and rebuild the psyche of damaged societies, we must prioritize education, awareness, dialogue, social justice, and international action.